Welcome to Cigars and Stories, where I, your host, Sammy Horowitz, tell you a completely factual, authentic story from my life and rate a fine premium cigar at the same time. So today we're smoking a Diplomatico Exclusivo Suiza. If you can see that, the cigar is a 100% Cuban Puro. It's an exclusivo, which means that it's basically a size that's not normally in the company's catalog, and they make it for a specific country, in this case, Switzerland. First puffs of this baby, super smooth, super creamy. Little coffee. I mean, I'm pairing it with coffee, but I get some coffee, but also like, I don't know, maybe like vanilla a little bit. It's just, it's really delicious. It's really delicious. You know, I was thinking about what story to go with when I started this channel, and I'm not going in any chronological order per se, but I was thinking about today, about 25 years ago, 2000, when I was 16 years old. You know, there used to be all these schools around the country. They're called schools. They're placements, facilities, treatment centers, you know, all different types of, essentially private prisons where they would house kids, right? It was a big industry for a long time. So I'll tell you about this place I was at called Sorenson's Ranch. It was in Cushing, Utah. Weird place, all Mormon, which I didn't know about at the time. I had no idea about Mormons. I just saw that they all had this long frilly underwear they wore under their clothes, and all the staff members were Mormon and big dudes that were no nonsense. The place was in the middle of fucking nowhere. It was in the middle of the desert, okay, off of a highway in Cushing, Utah. And I got dropped off there by two big, you know, security guys or whatever they were. They were transport guys that took me there in a van, drove me under these arches that said Sorenson's Ranch, and dropped me off the front door. I was received by some more staff members, and they took me in. And I remember seeing, you know, kids working. I saw kids carrying loaded wheelbarrows full of rocks and doing weird manual labor. And I remember just thinking, where the fuck am I? You know, I went through this intake. They took me in the gymnasium, and the gymnasium was filled with kids, you know, on this property. There was all these different buildings, housing units, a chow hall, a gymnasium, a schoolhouse, you know, a barn. They had all types of stuff. And so I got taken to the, you know, gymnasium, and the first thing I remember, some kid tried to punk me out. I don't know who he thought he was. He goes, "Oh, I like them shoes," he said to me, which is a whole nother story. I ended up getting into a pretty bad fight with that kid. But I remember this kid came up to me and said, "I like those shoes, homie." But I didn't know who the fuck these kids were. They came from all over. A lot of them came from the state of California. A lot of them came from Arizona, all different places. Utah, they were, you know, you name it. Still really smooth and creamy, delicious cigar. So within the first week of me being there, I didn't really understand how things went. And I saw a staff member horsing around with a kid, wrestling with him. And I thought, you know, that, oh, we're having like a fucking, oh cool, we're gonna have a little wrestling contest. So the staff member was tussling with this kid, and I ran up and tried to tackle the guy. He was this big guy. I don't know if he was Native American or Samoan, just a big guy. And I went and tried to tackle him. Well, I didn't know this guy was actually trying to restrain this kid, and it was not a fucking wrestling match. And so he tossed this kid to the side and fucking ended up body slamming me and pressing my hands to my wrists, and I was in so much pain. I was crying out. I was, you know, a little bit traumatized. I didn't know what the fuck was going on, and he ended up sitting on top of me. I couldn't fucking breathe. And that was like my first week there, I just remember being like, I got to get the fuck out of this place. You know, they put me in a housing unit with a couple different kids. After that day where I got restrained, that night that I got restrained and really fucked up by this guy, I decided that I'm going to figure out a way to get the fuck out of here. And remember, it's a schoolhouse, some dormitory buildings, kids that I don't really know. I don't know if I could trust them. There are girls. That was kind of cool. I'd never been to a co-ed place before, but they stayed on the other side of the facility. And I didn't really have any friends at that time. And so as I was walking to the schoolhouse from the dorms one day, I saw that construction workers were actually building a new building on the property. And I walked by some parked cars of the construction workers, and I saw that the keys were in one of the cars. I figured, shit, if this guy's leaving his keys in the car, he'll probably leave the keys in the car every day. It's probably going to be there tomorrow. And I checked, and it was. The next day the keys were there. I'd made a friend at the time, this kid named Archie. The only reason I became friends with him is because I actually was housed with him at another facility, which is a different story, but I knew him from another place, in another state. But I came up to him and I said, listen, do you want to get the fuck out of here? He goes, hell yeah. I said, tomorrow we're going to go during lunch. So lunch, everybody went to the cafeteria, okay? So all the staff members, all the kids, they all ate. And again, they're not doing super crazy security. They did head counts at nighttime, but besides that, there's nowhere to go. So they didn't expect anybody to really leave. People have classes, people are working on the ranch, working on the fucking pastures, doing all types of manual labor. And then at the end of the day, they do a head count, but that was really it. So sure enough, next day, lunchtime, instead of going to the cafeteria, I told Archie, come with me. And we walked over to the car. I looked in, the keys were in it. It was some piece of shit like Chevy Cavalier or something like that. I mean, it was a real shit box. This thing went, I think, 90 miles an hour tops. But I hopped in, I turned it on. I knew how to drive, Archie didn't. I turned the car on, I put it in gear. I drove off the fucking property and I kept going, okay? We're cheering, we're screaming, we're celebrating, we're going down this hill because it's on the top of a hill in Cushera, Utah, okay? We're going down the hill, we're driving. I'm on the side of the, now I'm on the highway. We get on the highway, we're going to Las Vegas. Now, I don't know where the fuck I am. I'm just trying to follow signs. I see a highway going to Las Vegas. I get on it, we're heading to Vegas. We're running out of gas, okay? So I pull into a gas station and I sweet talk the clerk into letting me get $5 or $10 of gas for free. He obliges, I get the gas, we keep moving, okay? We open up the glove box and there's a cell phone. Now, cell phones weren't very big back then. I mean, this was like a big cell phone, but with the construction worker, whoever it was, they had a phone to connect with people. Well, the phone starts ringing. Oh, I pick up the phone. It's one of the staff members at Sorenson's ranch. Sammy, just turn around and come back. It's gonna be okay. You're not gonna get any more trouble, just turn around. Now me, I'm fucking real cocky. Fuck you, motherfucker. You thought I wasn't gonna get out of here? I'm fucking gone. Go fuck yourself, pussy. And I'm just talking all this shit. Archie and me both are talking shit. I hang up on the guy, throw it back in the glove box. Fuck this guy. In any event, we keep driving, okay? We go through Cedar City. After Cedar City, I pass a exit for a town called Parowan, Utah. And right after I pass Parowan, sirens or the cherries go off in my rear view. I look and it looks like there's like a police van, like a police SUV or van trying to get me to pull over. I look at Archie and I'm like, fuck, man, like obviously they put out a bolo, be on the lookout or whatever. They called the authorities and let them know that we stole a fucking car. So I tell Archie, I say, fuck it. I say, you want to fucking go for it? He's like, hell yeah. So I hit the gas. I put the pedal to the metal. This fucking thing I don't even think it broke 100 miles an hour, but I'm going as fast as I can. The cop car or van pulls up next to me, and they're like, pull over, pull over. He's telling me, he's like, pull over to the side of the road. So obviously he knows that we're kids in this thing. And he's saying, pull over, pull over. So I look at Archie, I say, watch this. I slam on my brakes. This guy shoots in front of me. I drive across the medium, and I get to the other side. I bust a Yui. I drive back. I get off at Parowan. We pull into a high school, okay, Parowan High School, whatever it was called. And I park the car, and we get out, and we hide. We're hiding behind the dumpsters, and we can hear sirens. We can hear cars now, police cars driving through the town, okay? But we're safe. We're behind this high school, hiding behind a dumpster, all right? Time keeps on going. We try to get some sleep. Our plan is, as long as the cops don't find the car, when it gets dark, we're gonna get back in the car, and we're gonna drive to Vegas. I don't know what we were going to do in Vegas. We were going to try to stick somebody up. We were going to try to do something, but Vegas was where we wanted to go, all right? So when it starts getting dark, Archie and I start walking around the back of the high school to the parking lot, which was on the side of the building. And as I get around the building, I see a tow truck and a bunch of squad cars parked around our car. They found us. Fuck. They didn't see me. I turn around. I tell Archie, yo, they see us. We got to go. Come on, let's go. They're here. Archie, not the brightest decision of the day, walks up and wants to see for himself. Well, they see him. I hear somebody go, hey, you. I take off running. Archie follows me. I run around the back of the high school. I kick in the fucking door to the basement of this old 1800s fucking school. I go inside the basement. Archie follows me. I crawl into like a big container, like a garbage container or something, and I'm hiding in there. Well, suffice to say, they found me. The cops came in, drew their guns on us, found us, arrested us, and they took us to Cedar City Juvenile Detention Center. So we got processed through Cedar City. I'm sick to my fucking stomach. We get charged with Grand Theft Auto, some other shit, all right? The cops come and they say, the people from Sorenson's are picking you up. So now I'm really fucking sweating because I've heard stories about what these guys do to runaways and, you know, that we stole a fucking car, plus all the shit I was talking on the phone. I know this is not gonna end well. Still really, really smooth, light coffee, light cream. Back to the story. We get picked up that night by some staff members, 2 staff members. The one guy that I was talking shit to on the phone, and another guy who must have been 260 pounds, just a big block of muscle, barrel-chested, just no-nonsense fucking guy. They put us in the back of a van, and we're driving. I'm in the back. We're handcuffed. Okay, we're handcuffed and shackled, and they're taking us to another juvenile detention center in Cousharam, Utah. I guess there was another detention center that we're getting transferred to that they worked out somehow, and it was at the bottom of that hill or mountain that we were on. Oh, in the middle of driving, Archie starts talking shit to these guys. They pull over to the side of the highway. This guy comes back and starts literally beating the shit out of Archie, and I'm just watching. I'm handcuffed, and I'm just watching this guy just beat the fuck out of Archie, and I can't do shit. I'm cuffed, and I'm also terrified. So I don't say shit because I know there ain't nothing I can do. So we get dropped off at this juvenile facility, and we spent a couple nights there. Nothing of note, all right? Regular shit food. We ended up going to court. It was an old Utah courthouse. We got, read our charges and everything like that. And they released us to the custody of Sorenson's ranch. So now we're back on the ranch. Now they had a specific way of dealing with people that did what I did. They had a double wide trailer, which was essentially solitary confinement. And what they did on that trailer is it was partitioned into rooms. So you go in this double wide and there was just walls. And in between each wall was a little cot. And we had to wear bright orange jumpsuits, like county jail jumpsuits, but they were super fucking tight. And we had to wear these jumpsuits and sit on the end of our beds like this all day long. We couldn't talk. And there was a staff member that sat at a desk on the other side of the double wide just watching all the kids that were in solitary. You had to sit up on your bed, and if you laid down, this guy would come and he'd fucking grab your ass and swing you back up. You had to literally sit there and shut the fuck up, sun up to sundown, and then you go to bed. And I had to deal with that shit for I don't know what it was, a week, 7 days, 8 days, whatever. By the end of it, I was miserable. I finally got out, okay? And they did this thing there. They did these hikes for all the kids that were like, I don't know if it was a form of detention or all the kids that were basically coming off of being in trouble. They had to do this hike up into the mountains every single night, while a van with staff would just drive behind us, and we'd have to hike up this mountain for hours and then walk back down. And that's what we had to do every fucking night. So all that to say, this was going on for, I don't know, 3 weeks. But by that time, I was the motherfucking cock of the walk. I had a couple girlfriends, which I had this beautiful black girl named Michaela that, you know, she was sexy. She looked like Jada Pinkett. I remember that. And I thought she was so beautiful. And so we were kind of like hooking up and making out and stuff like that. I had this other girl, half Asian girl named Emily. And, you know, we were hanging out and you know, because you could see girls at school and things like that. And everybody thought I was the shit because of what I did. Because I told you, even though I didn't do it to get clout, when you get, you know, when you come back, everybody, all the guys were like, oh my God, bro, you fucking did this. You ran away. That's so crazy. Anyways, I had to do these walks every fucking night, and I basically just kind of settled in because I'm like, you know what? It's not that fucking bad. There's girls. You know, I got my little crew of guys that I was kicking it with, that I was hanging out with. We had our own little crew. I started a little, I was in a gang in Chicago, but that's a whole different thing. I started my own little crew within this place, where we all had little tattoos that we did, little fucking DGF tattoos. It was goofy. It was cringe-worthy today, but back then it was the don't give a fuck crew. You know, we had our own little crew of guys that I started there. And so anyways, we did this for a while, and I was like, you know, I was okay with this. Well, again, I never did get taken off of those hikes for as long as I was there. So every day, because I was on this long-term punishment, I had to do these hikes. And one day on the hike, I was talking to this kid named Rodell. Rodell was a Mexican Sureño from California. And I guess him and his brother now lived in Denver, Colorado. I don't know exactly how he got to this place, but he came up to me. He says, yo, bro, he goes, I want you to run with me. I want to make a break for it with you. And I told him, I said, listen, buddy, I go, the only reason that I ran the first time is because there was a fucking car with the keys in it. I go, I would be stupid to do all the shit that I just went through, dealing with the fucking double wide trailers, solitary, and all this bullshit, and getting roughed up by the staff. Dude, I'm straight. I told him no. I said, I'm not gonna risk it. He came to me the next night. He goes, bro, please, man. He goes, you're the only guy. You got further than anybody else. Please, let's do it. Please reconsider. I want to go with you. I want you to run with me, man. We can fucking do it. We can get away. So I thought about it. And I don't know. Maybe it was just me wanting to prove something. Maybe it was me still wanting to get out of there. Maybe it was me wanting to show off. I don't know what the fuck it was. But I told him, I said, all right, bro. I said, we'll do it. Now here is what's crazy that I'll tell you guys. While we were on those hikes, I remember talking to a random kid. I couldn't tell you who it was, but we were talking about sports cars and driving. I didn't drive stick. And I remember talking to this kid, and he was telling me about how you drive stick. You know, he was telling me about the clutch and the brake and the gas, and you hold down the clutch at the same time you're holding down the brake, and you turn the car on, and then you take your foot off the brake and you release the clutch. Put it in the first gear, you release the clutch as you press down on the gas. And he's explaining to me how to drive manual. I was just asking him about it. This was on one of those hikes before Rodell came and asked me to run away. And I just remember having these conversations. You know, we just have dumb conversations about anything, but that was one of them. Well, Rodell lived right up above me in this cabin, this little building that we lived in. And so I had told the kids that I was housed with what I was gonna do, and they were cool. They were like, all right, cool. They were rooting for me. They weren't gonna snitch on me. But I told you, remember, they do night counts every night. Every hour, they would come in with the flashlight and they would make sure everybody was there, and then they'd leave on the hour. So I knew once they did a head count, we had an hour. So what happened was, I took a broomstick and I knocked on the top door, or the ceiling, mind you, and that was the signal for Rodell to meet me out back. So he came out the side, I came out the front, we met in the back. He's like, you ready to do this? I said, yeah, let's go. Before we went, I fucking threw a rock at the window in the next cabin over because I had a couple homies that I was gonna try to see if they wanted to come with me. My buddy Mark Sawyer, who now works for the Sacramento Police Department all these years later. He was from Sacramento. But I remember he was like one of my boys there, and I remember telling him, Mark, you gonna come? And he's like, nah, bro. Nobody thought I was gonna get away. Nobody thought we were gonna get away. They all thought we were fucked. They all thought it was stupid. And it was, because unless we had a car, they were gonna track us down, and it was only a matter of time, and we would get our asses whooped. But I had a plan. You see, I figured that because this is a small town, because this is a bumblefuck town in the middle of nowhere, there would absolutely be people that leave their keys in the car. Why wouldn't you? Everybody knows everybody. They're not worried about these kids that are housed on this place. They don't even think about them. So people, I'm sure, on farms and ranches leave their keys in the car. I was betting on it, right? And I bet correctly. So we ran off into the middle of the night, and we were just running through cow patties and pastures and all the ranches. And after about an hour, I turned around and I saw flashlights looking, so I could tell, because it was crystal clear at nighttime. You could see everything miles away. So I could see the flashlights moving. I'd say, okay, I told Rodell, they know that we escaped. They know that we're gone, okay? So, all that to say, we broke into a garage by a house. Car was locked. We're fucked. I'm starting to get worried because I know that at first they're gonna expect us to have been in the female dorms, right? They think that the guys went over there to try to, you know, be inappropriate with the females. That's what they thought. So I know we're gonna have a little time because they're gonna think that we were, you know, hiding somewhere in the girls' dormitories. But once they realize it, they're gonna come after us. So, you know, we went into a couple different buildings, or apartment buildings and houses, and we're looking at, all the cars were locked. I didn't know what I was gonna do. All that to say, we went across the street, because across the highway I saw there was like a farm ranch building up on a hill, and I'm like, you know, maybe there's like a car or something up there, you know, by this guy. So we went across the street, and we hiked up the hill, and I saw a truck. It was a white Toyota truck. And I'm like, huh, okay, let's go check this out. It's dark. It's parked outside of a barn. You know, there's a house, but everybody obviously was sleeping. So I'm thinking, okay, let me check out this car, this truck, this Toyota truck. Now, before I get to the truck, I just want to say, look at this ash. I mean, this thing is burning. I mean, the burn's not perfect, but it's delicious. I mean, this is a smooth, light but rich cigar. Really, really, really mild to medium bodied Cuban cigar, but just really, really delicious, tasty, very smooth. Still in the first third. I walk up to that truck. I open the door, it's unlocked. I look inside. The keys are in the fucking ignition. I cannot believe it. I tell Rodell, here we go, baby. He gets in the car. Only one problem. It's a manual. It was like a 4 or 5 speed manual truck. Again, remember I told you, I had never driven a stick shift in my life, but I did talk to a kid who told me how to do it. And I remembered what he said. So I turned the car on. I had my foot on the brake and on the clutch. I put it into first gear. I stalled. Every time I turned on the truck, the lights turned on. I had no idea how to turn the lights off. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I'm so terrified that somebody was gonna come out that house and shoot us with a shotgun. Because every time we turned on that truck, it was a loud turnover, and then we'd stall out, and then it'd shut off. I did it about 3-4 times. We're both sweating fucking bullets. But guess what? On the third or fourth time, I got that motherfucker into gear. Somehow. Kept it in the first gear. I drove it down the driveway. I got onto the highway, and I turned right instead of left to go the other way. All right? I didn't really know where I was going, but I had talked to a person at the ranch who kind of gave me an idea of where I could go. I did a little bit of, reconnaissance on how I'm going to get out of here. So the person told me if you go the other way, it'll take you to a login road, and you can get down to the same highway that you were at before, but you'll be further along, and you can get to Vegas. We're cheering, we're going, we're congratulating each other. I'm so excited, he's so excited. We turn on the radio, and there's a fucking Tupac CD in the fucking CD player. I could not believe that this farmer in the middle of Utah in a white pickup truck had a All Eyes on Me disc. And so we're blasting Tupac, going down the highway. I get it into second gear. I kept that fucking truck in second gear for what must have been an hour. I mean, I ruined that truck's engine. I had no idea what I was doing, but I kept that fucker driving until we got to the exact same area that we were at before, Cedar City, Utah, right around the place where I got caught the first time. But this time, I accidentally missed our exit, and I ended up on a side road next to the highway, and the side road was going down as the highway was going up, and I tried to get back up the hill, and I got the truck stuck, and again, I didn't really know how to drive manual. I don't even know how it was possible that I did what I did this time, but we left the truck where it was, we got out, we started walking, okay? So, we walked to a rest stop, right? There was a rest stop a couple miles up, and we got to the rest stop, and at this point, we asked a couple truckers to hitchhike. They told us no. I was paranoid somebody was gonna call the cops on us. I really thought that we were gonna be screwed at this point, but in the morning, we stayed there for what must have been 3-4 hours. And in the morning, I saw some kids all loading into a car. Like they had been in the rest area. Now they were getting in their car. They looked like they were our age, maybe a little older. And I said, that's our ride. There was maybe 3 kids. So I walked up to them, and Rodell was like, what are you doing? I said, just trust me. I'm going to talk to these kids. So I said, hey, guys, let me talk to you real quick. And I told them what happened. I said, listen, we escaped from this place, man. Give us a ride. Help us out. Where are you guys going? They're like, we're going to Mesquite, Nevada. You ever heard of Mesquite, Nevada? I said, no. I said, but can we go with you? They said, fuck yeah. They said, get in. So Rodell and I got into the back seat. We're 3 deep in the back. I'm telling them the whole story of what happened, and they're driving us to Mesquite, Nevada. We drove through Arizona. We got to Mesquite. Took a few hours. They dropped us off. And now we're in the middle of fucking Mesquite, Nevada, which is, I don't know, 90 miles away from Las Vegas. We were pretty close. But again, we're stuck, and it's the summertime. It's hot as shit. We're walking around. I'm panhandling, trying to get money. We're asking people for rides. Nobody's helping us. We're 2 kids, kind of dirty, running around, trying to fucking, hitchhike and looking, breaking in the cars, breaking in the hotel rooms. Just trying to come up with money and figure out a way to get to Las Vegas. And that's what we did for a while. I'm pretty sure we stayed the night. I think we stayed there at least 1 night, maybe 2 nights. Time is a little weird these days, thinking back to those times. But what I do remember is I was at a McDonald's, and I remember going up to a couple and asking for a ride to Vegas. And they told me, yeah, they said they'd give me a ride. I said, yeah, but I'm with my buddy. And they looked at Rodell, and they're like, oh, no, we only got room for 1. Now, who knows? You know what? Looking back on it, maybe they were fucking creeps. Maybe they were going to try to kidnap me or murder me or try to rape me. Who knows what they were going to do? But maybe they saw that I was with my buddy and they didn't want to do it. Or maybe they just didn't want to be in the car with a Mexican kid. I have no idea what it was. But I you know, could only get a ride for one. I said, okay, no. And here it was, me and Rodell were just stuck at a McDonald's and a gas station, panhandling, eating cheeseburgers, and just trying to figure out what our next move was until two paisas pulled up, right? Now, a paisa, if you don't know what paisa is, it's a Mexican dude who's from Mexico, doesn't speak any English. He's a paisa. He's a countryman. You know what I mean? He's a paisa. And we saw two paisas pull up, and Rodell's like, I got this. I'm going to go talk to him. So Rodell goes and starts talking to him in Spanish. And he come back to me. He says, hey, Sammy, he says, they'll give us a ride, but they'll give us a ride to Provo, Utah. I said, Rodell, why the fuck would you want to go to Provo, Utah? We literally just escaped from Utah. We're wanted in Utah, bro. There's no way we're going to get away. He said that they'll take us to Provo. We'll spend the night in Provo. The next day, one of their family members will take us to Salt Lake City. And he said his brother will pick us up from Salt Lake City and take us to Denver. I go, dude, that's a complete backwards plan. We already got through Arizona to fucking Utah. But Rodell's like, come on, bro. My brother will meet us. He'll pick us up. Let's just do it. Let's do this. I know these guys. They're cool, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I said, fuck it. Let's go. So we get in the car. These guys asked us if we wanted something to drink. We went in. They got us, I got a 40 of Old English. They got us like a 24 pack of Millers or whatever it was. They got a bunch of beers. And we're just getting fucked up while these guys are driving back exactly where we came on the highway. Now, here's what I remember. I remember getting fucking drunk as shit. I did not speak Spanish. I speak a little Spanish now. My wife is Mexican, but back then I didn't speak any Spanish. These guys are drunk as hell, swerving on the highway. I'm drunk. I'm drinking more and more. I'm feeling nauseous. I'm looking over at the fucking canyons. I'm terrified. They've got loud corridos playing, you know, loud fucking ranchero music playing on the radio. He's turning around talking to me in Spanish. Rodell's translating. He's saying, oh, he says, be cool. You're with him. Be cool. You're all right. I'm fucking scared as shit. Well, we didn't, thank God, drive off the highway, but we did get pulled over by the Utah Highway Patrol when we got back in Utah. And guess where we were? Cedar City. So if you're tracking this, this was the third time that we were in Cedar City. And this time, we're getting pulled over by the State Highway Patrol. Now, I know I'm fucked, okay? I had a bald head back then. I was real tan. I'm with 3 Mexicans. So I did the only thing that I could do. Probably my first role that I ever played, because I pretended that I was a Mexican kid named Jesse Martinez. And I just rattled off a fake address to the highway patrolman. I used a fucking Chicago address, but I just said Salt Lake City instead of, you know, I said the, you know, like, I don't know, like Division Street and then Apartment C and Salt Lake City. He said, what's the zip code? I go, I don't know my zip code. He goes, how old are you? I said 18. I was 16. This cop, he's like, where's your driver's license? I said, I don't have one. Well, God bless the Utah Highway Patrol. They went by the honor system back then, and he wrote me a ticket for consumption of alcohol as a minor. Rodell gave a fake name too. They gave him a ticket for consumption of alcohol as a minor, but they didn't arrest us. They did arrest the driver. They took him straight to jail. But the tow truck driver gave the passenger, Rodell, and myself a ride into town. Getting to close to the midway point of this cigar. It's getting a little stronger. It's got a little more bite to it. Picking up a little bit of strength. Still flavors of the cream, a creamy flavor is still the main thing here that I'm picking up. And it's still ultra smooth and delicious. But now back to our regularly scheduled programming, because we get dropped off at Salt Lake City in the front of the fucking police station. I'm with this guy's cousin or nephew. The driver was the uncle of the passenger who was his nephew, and we're waiting on the family to come pick us up, and I just could not believe that I was in the middle of Cedar City, Utah for the third time now. This time under an assumed name, and just with some random paisa with my boy. And that's where we were. And so we waited there for hours and got some food. The guy brought us to a restaurant and we had some Mexican food, and you know, it was whatever. And then they couldn't get this guy had a hold from I don't know what it was. I don't think it was ICE. It was, you know, immigration. They had a hold on the driver, so they wouldn't let him out of jail. And so this guy's family came and picked us up, and they picked all of us up and they drove us to their apartment in, you know, Provo, Utah, which I have fond memories of that night. It was a fun time. They gave us more beer. They fed us like kings. And I remember, like, you know, as we were getting drunk, these guys were saying, let's smuggle some guns, and we can get you guys to smuggle some guns out of Mexico and all this shit. And I don't know what the fuck I was agreeing to. I was a kid. Rodell was telling me these guys are just drunk. That's just how they were or whatever. And I was just having a ball. They gave me a pair of clean clothes. They bought me a pack of Marlboros. I mean, they were really, really, really hospitable to me and to Rodell. And we stayed the night. And they told us, we'll give you a ride into Utah the next day, which, true to their word, they did. So the next day, in the morning, I said goodbye to all the family members, and we got driven to the Greyhound station in Salt Lake City. But now, mind you, we don't have a fucking dollar between us, and it's really imperative that Rodell's brother come through and come pick us up, because otherwise we're stuck like Chuck in the middle of Salt Lake City. So we're at the Greyhound station. Rodell's using the payphone. He's trying to get in contact with his brother, and nothing's happening, man. And he's not getting through. He can't get a hold of him. I'm stressed the fuck out. I have no idea what we're gonna do. We start walking around the city. We end up going through the mall. We're trying to figure out, are we gonna try to roll somebody? We were breaking into cars. We're thinking about maybe rolling some kids and trying to get them for some money or whatever. I don't think we did any of that, to my recollection, but I just remember us trying to figure out how we're gonna panhandle, get some money, and then get bus tickets to get us to fucking Denver, Colorado, which is where Rodell's brother was, because we couldn't get a hold of him. So now that was the situation we were in. All that to say, this led into the night, and here's what happened. We were breaking into different cars and different things, and I remember trying to break into a truck, and I found a screwdriver in the back in the truck bed, and I spider webbed the window, which is when you jam the screwdriver in, you shatter the window. I shattered the window, and as I shattered the window, some guy came out of his apartment and started screaming, "Hey, what are you doing? Blah, 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 blah." So we started running. Okay, this is in like downtown Salt Lake City. I jump over a fence. I jumped the fence, and there was barbed wire at the top of the fence. And if you can see, I got this long scar down my wrist right here. It ripped my arm open on this barbed wire, and just blood was pouring everywhere. So I tied it off with a shirt, and it was just leaking. And we ended up getting away, but now we just managed to find some train tracks, and we started following these train tracks in the middle of Salt Lake City or wherever the fuck we were, and we're just trying to figure out what we're gonna do. Now I don't know where the fucking Greyhound station is. I don't know where we are. We ran off from the, you know, off the main path because we didn't want to get arrested, and I just know that somebody called the cops on us, so I'm, you know, kind of worried what's gonna happen. Well, we were walking on the train tracks, and I start hearing loud noises like this. Oomp, 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 oomp. It was so weird, like bass, like heavy bass. I just heard oomp, 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 oomp. Again, it's dark now. We're on train tracks. There's all types of industrial buildings. Who knows how far we've came? A couple miles? I'm not really sure, right? I'm a kid. I don't know how far it was, but it was a while. I felt like we were on the tracks for hours. But we're at this, like, it looked like a, not a construction site, but maybe like an industrial park. I saw a bunch of tractors and cars parked and things like that. So we walked off the train tracks towards the sound of the boom, oomp, oomp, thumping. And as we get to the track, or as we get to the off the tracks to the parking lot, I could see I stopped by a tractor, and I was looking past the tractor. There was a bunch of cars parked in this empty lot between what looked like a train depot and they're across. So follow me. We're at this little industrial section with a building. There's train tracks behind us. There's a parking lot in front of us, and past the parking lot, it looked like there was another set of train tracks with another train that was parked. Maybe it was like unloading stuff into the, it was like in between of a train yard almost. And I saw, it was the weirdest thing. I saw a car pull into a spot, and again, this is nighttime. It had to have been 11 p.m., 12 midnight, something like that. And I see inside this car, I see what looked like two young women drinking. Rodell and I are looking at each other like, what the fuck are we seeing right now? Like, we're in the middle of nowhere. We're in the middle of like a train yard or construction yard, train yard, whatever you have, what have you. And there's two girls in a car drinking in the dark. And then they get out of the car, and I see them stumble off to the left. I have no idea where they're going because I can't see past the building. I just see them walk past their car. So I look at Rodell like, let's go see what's going on. So I got that screwdriver, okay? I walk up to the car, I spiderweb the window, I open it up, we get in the car, Rodell gets in the driver, I unlock it, he gets in the driver's seat, we're ransacking the car, we're looking through the car, we're trying to find shit, you know. There's a bag, I find $5, literally $5 in cash, I put the $5 in my pocket, we're going through shit, I think there were some liquor bottles. Rodell has like a plastic bag he finds, he's throwing the liquor bottles, he's throwing all types of shit in the bag. And then all of a sudden, Rodell gets out of the car, he comes around, he's standing, I got the passenger door open, he's standing right here next to the passenger door with the bag over his shoulder like, come on, let's go. I'm still looking through shit, looking through the glove compartment, and then all of a sudden a spotlight shines on us, and we freeze. And I just look at Rodell, and there's a spotlight on him, and he looks towards the light, and I turn behind me, and I see there's an unmarked police car with a spotlight shining right on us. And I look at him, and he looks at me. I look back at Rodell, and he looks at me. It's like, because we're caught. There's a cop, and they got the light right on us. And Rodell just looks at me, and I look at him, and he fucking takes off running towards that parked train. Well, I was frozen. The car drives after him, leaving me in the car. They must not have seen me in the fucking car. Or if they did, maybe they thought it was my car and they just saw him. I don't know. But they go drive after Rodell. I get out of the car, and I'm looking around, and I just can't believe that I'm here. I'm okay. I see that cop car driving after Rodell by the trains. He runs into the train tracks. I don't know where he's going. I turn the other way, and I see where those two girls went. Those two girls are now way up ahead, like far ahead. They don't see what's going on back here. And there's a bunch of people in line or going somewhere. And I hear that music, oomp, oomp, oomp. So I just casually start walking that way, okay, with $5 in my pocket. So now as I get closer, I see a building, and it says Area 51. It was a fucking nightclub, and the music, the thumping that I hear is the bass music from the fucking club. Well, I get in line. I am shocked. I have my adrenaline pumping. I'm worried about my friend. I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm standing in line with a bunch of kids. And we get to the fucking entrance, and guess how much the admission was? $5. I pull out $5. I give it to them. I pretend I was drunk. They go, how old are you? I say 18. Because it was a 21 or under club, but you had to be 18 to get in. I said I was 18. They said, what's your birthday? You know, I fucking added 2 years onto my birthday. He said, all right, get in. He gave me a stamp, and he let me in. A stamp so you couldn't drink, but he let me in. So now I'm in this club, and the downstairs was like gothic industrial music, which is like vampire music. It was like scary as shit. I'm walking around, looking around at these people dressed with like, they've got like white paint on their faces. It looked like Interview with the fucking Vampire. I was terrified. I thought I walked into a horror movie or something. I didn't know where I was. And I'm walking around there for about 10 minutes. And then I see some other people going up some stairs and they were dressed normal. So I followed them. And when I got upstairs, the music started changing. And I started hearing, you and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do in the Discovery Channel. It was that song that was popular back in 2000. So I hear that song and I'm like, okay, so they had two different clubs in one. Downstairs was some gothic shit, upstairs was normal people. And what's funny is, when I got upstairs, I saw the two girls that were in their car. I kind of felt bad because I thought, you have no idea that I was just in your fucking car and broke your window. But I saw both of those girls that I recognized from the car. And so I just walked around this club and people were fucking liquid dancing with, you know, what do you call it, glow sticks. And I was just thinking about what my next move was. And eventually the club closed down and they booted everybody out. And now I'm in the same parking lot that I was a couple hours before, not knowing what I was gonna do. Well, I sat down on the side of the road and I asked a couple people for some change. People gave me some change. People gave me some money, you know, different people that were at the club. So I had a little bit of cash. And after about an hour, I saw a police car drive right past me. And I saw Rodell in the back seat. He didn't see me, but I saw him. And that was the last time I ever saw Rodell. Now we're officially at the midpoint of this cigar. And the flavor has taken a turn. Still very good. Still mild, but it's more powerful. And there's definitely like a note of coffee and cream in this. I mean, it's still, those are the two dominant flavors, is coffee and cream on this cigar. So anyways, I see Rodell and I'm just like, fuck man, my boy's locked up. What am I gonna do? So I start walking and I end up at I think it was a Denny's, and I'm in the Denny's and I get a cup of coffee, but police came in and I see cops in there and I'm paranoid because now there's police and I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? I found some homeless woman that was walking around the downtown Salt Lake, or not downtown, but Salt Lake, all tattooed up, and she was nice. She told me how to get to the Greyhound station, and so I ended up making my way to the Greyhound station. So I saw a bus at the Salt Lake City bus station that was headed to Chicago, okay? So I got on the bus when there was no driver in sight, and I went into the bathroom, and I stayed in that fucking Greyhound bus bathroom for hours. And then all of a sudden, boom, it started moving. And after about 10 minutes, I came out and I found a seat, and there was a bunch of people, and I sat down on an empty seat, and I ended up making a friend with the person I was sitting next to, and I told him what had happened, and he was like, holy shit, kid. And I told this chick that was next to me, and all of a sudden I had a crew of people that were like, oh my God, this is amazing. And they were giving me Percocets and all types of shit. And I was, pardon me, telling them my story about what I had been through with my friend and all this shit. And they were like, we're gonna help you get you home. We're gonna help get you home. So that bus went to Cheyenne, Wyoming. At Cheyenne, Wyoming, it stopped. I had to get off the bus. Then I had to sneak back on the bus without a ticket. They helped distract the driver and got me back on the bus. Then we went to Omaha, Nebraska. In Omaha, Nebraska, I ended up coming off the bus, sneaking back on the bus, hiding in the bathroom, doing the same thing, and I got to Chicago. In Chicago, I got off. I was at Union Station downtown. I went back to my house. I knocked on the door. My mother opened the door. She looked at me like, what the fuck? I said, I'm home. I never went back. Now here's a fun fact. I reconnected with some of those kids that were at that place. They told those kids that I got caught. They didn't want anybody to know that somebody actually got away, but I got away. Rodell ended up going through probably all the shit that I went through and worse the first time that I got caught. But I got away and I never went back to Sorenson's Ranch. And that is my Sorenson's Ranch story. To recap on this cigar, we're approaching the final third of the cigar. We're still kind of in the midway of it. But it's delicious. The smoke is very tasty. And, you know, look, this is the only one I have. I've had one of these before. My buddy Max gave me this thing. He's a big Cuban cigar collector. And if I was able to buy boxes of these, I absolutely would. They're very expensive. I'm sure nowadays, but yeah, I give it 2 thumbs up. Anyways, thanks for listening. Until next time.